What is up, everybody? Galaxy here, and I am back with another video. Finally, I know it's been a little bit, but yes, just processing getting off trail. So today I want to talk about my last couple days on trail and the slow decline of my foot, as well as give you an update on how my foot is doing. So I'm going to be honest, I hate when people say, oh, an update on how I'm doing, and then it's like at the very end, you have to watch the whole video and skip the whole thing. I know it's for the views or whatever, but like, I hate that. So I'm just going to tell you how my foot is now. So the current update on my foot, good news is it's not a stress fracture, it's not broken or anything, so that's good. Unfortunately, I guess I have a bone spur in my foot, so I have an appointment with the podiatrist in a couple of weeks. That's the earliest they could get me in, unfortunately, but hopefully I can get it figured out and get it to hurt a little bit less. It definitely is feeling better. Still not 100%. To be fair, I also have not gone on a walk, haven't really been doing stuff with my foot. So I don't know once I start doing that again how it's gonna feel, because I'm trying to let it heal on its own or just hurt less on its own, I guess, because that can't really heal on its own. But yes, so that's the update. Bone spur in my foot. It hurts less, but still hurts a little bit. So I guess it's good I got off trail because I would just still be in a lot of pain, turns out. But I also want to talk a little bit about my last couple of days on trail because I did lose that footage. Also, shout out to Stitch. I, as many of you probably know, accidentally washed my phone and laundromat and Pauling, so I lost my last 3 days of footage. So Stitch was very kind and sent me her pictures from those days. She's not a video gal because she left that to me. So when I lose footage, there's just no footage. I do have some pictures that I got from Stitch, so shout out to her for the pictures. Alrighty, so I do want to talk about my last couple of days on trail. The last video you saw was us in Fort Montgomery, and I was feeling great, and my foot felt fine. Woke up the next day. We decided to get a late start because that's the day we were hitting the zoo that is on the Appalachian Trail. So for those of you that don't know, the Appalachian Trail walks straight through this like little tiny zoo. And that didn't open until 10, so we kind of got a late start, kind of took it easy until the zoo opened, so that way we can hit the whole trail and not have to miss a cool part of the trail. So, got a late start, went and hit up the zoo, me and Stitch and Lightning, and then also Marathon Man and Breaks and POTUS were with us, so that was pretty fun. But yes, got to hit up the zoo. I saw my first bear on trail, and my only bear. It was in the zoo, but I got to see one or two bears, I guess, so I guess that counts, maybe. But yes, went through the Trailside Zoo. That was pretty fun. It's a little small zoo, nothing super fancy, but it's kind of cool. And we went on the bridge. It goes over the Hudson. That was pretty cool. At that point, my foot had already started to hurt, and we had walked 1 whole mile. The plan for that day originally was to do 15 miles, but since we got a late start, we weren't really sure how that was going to work. So yes, we were kind of moving, started doing some uphill, just random AT stuff, and ended up at the Appalachian Market after about 6-ish miles, stopped and had lunch. We were there kind of a while. At that point, my foot was hurting pretty good. I remember rolling up and going into the store and telling Lightning that my foot hurt really bad, and I didn't know how much more I was going to be able to hike that day. So we took a nice long break. Unfortunately, it was hot outside, and that's the only place really to sit was outside. So we were sitting outside in the heat, which was good for my foot because my foot got to rest. But unfortunately, it was very hot. So Stitch and I took off together. Lightning obviously is faster than everybody. So Lightning took off. She ended up making it the whole 15 miles that we were planning on. Stitch and I definitely did not. We made it about 11 miles. She was overheated from sitting outside at the market for so long. And then my foot was messed up. So the two of us ended up stealth camping after about 11 miles. So that should have been my first sign my foot was not doing great. Got up the next morning. We decided to leave early because Stitch wanted to beat the heat and I needed extra time to take a break if I needed it because of my foot. So we ended up leaving camp at like 6 a.m., which is early for me. And we were able to get in a good chunk of miles, and then I stopped and had breakfast and she kept going, and we ended up stopping for lunch at the Canopus Lake Beach, which is really cool. Definitely would recommend. It is a side trail. But it's a cool lake with a beach, and there's lots of like kids and families and people there. But there also is a snack bar and bathrooms and little cold showers and all that. So we also took a long lunch that day. We were there for, I think 2 hours maybe? Probably about 2 hours, because we went in the lake and went swimming, then went and had lunch, and then we only had about 5-ish miles after that to the RPH shelter, I believe. And so we kind of took it easy because we started so early. We were like, we're going to end early anyway. We'll just have fun at this little lake area. So that's what we did. Again, so it was Stitch and I. Lightning had stopped there earlier, but since she was so far ahead of us and is faster than everybody, she had already left the lake by the time we got there, unfortunately. But it was me and Stitch, and then the guys, Marathon Man, Briggs, and POTUS. And then we also got to see some other people there that we had met earlier in the trail. Sun God was there, so that was fun to see him. And some other people that we had met. We didn't know very well, but we knew who they were. So yes, we did that. Did the extra couple miles to the RPH shelter, which my foot actually surprisingly felt great during that time, which was a little weird. Like, it didn't hurt at all. It had been hurting pretty good up until lunch. And I was like, uh-oh, that's not good. But we stopped, had a long lunch. I was like, all right, I'll try it. And my foot felt really good. We got to the RPH shelter. We were done for the day, Stitch and I. Lightning had still gone ahead, so we hadn't seen her yet at this point. She ended up going a little bit ahead of us, and so did the guys because they camped ahead of us too. But Stitch and I stayed there, which it was a pretty nice shelter, honestly. We stayed in the shelter because it rained and thunderstormed really good that night, and so Stitch and I stayed in the shelter and just kind of hung out and waited out the rain. Then I woke up the next morning of July 4th, and I watched it privy, and I was like, oh no, this is not good. My foot hurts pretty bad. And it was first thing in the morning. Usually it would feel a lot better after I rested and slept, and I could get at least a couple miles with no pain. But the fact that I woke up in pain was not a good sign. So I took some ibuprofen, as one does, and was hoping that it would at least help if there was any swelling or anything with it. I didn't take a lot, but I took enough that it should have helped a little bit. We waited out the rain a little bit, and then once it kind of calmed down in the morning, we headed out. The goal was to do 17 miles to get to Pauling. So Stitch and I headed out together. I have breathing issues, and it was so humid and hot that I was having trouble breathing. So Stitch kind of took off so I could sit there and take my inhaler and catch my breath. Like, I wasn't dangerously not able to breathe. I couldn't keep up with her. And so she took off, and I was just in pain. And so it kind of got worse and worse as you're doing, the PUDs of New York, up, down, up, down. My foot just was getting worse and worse to where I think the last mile I was just in so much pain, and I didn't even know how I was going to make it to the road. So I remember texting Stitch, hey, I think I'm going to get off at this road, which was about 5 miles from where we left the shelter, and telling her, like, hey, I think I'm going to get off. And she had already passed it, and poor thing calls me and felt so bad that she passed it. I was like, it's fine, like, you got to keep going anyway. It's not like you could have sat there and gone with me. So she kept going into town, and that's about when I made the decision that I probably needed to get off trail. And I had a feeling it was coming. When I took the 00 at Lost and Found, I had a strong feeling that it was probably getting close to the end for me. But I didn't want to leave trail if there was some little chance that my foot would get better. And so the last couple days was me just hoping that it would get better. And it just didn't. It got worse. So I ended up getting to the road. There was a little road that led to like a pizza place and a deli. And that's where Lightning actually had stayed the night before. And so that's where I ended up getting off. It's probably good I lost that footage because it was basically me sitting on a rock, like 10 feet from the road. You could tell I had been crying. And basically I didn't want to leave the trail. So I just sat on that rock for like probably close to an hour and just like sat there and cried. And I talked to Brightside and Lightning and Stitch and my mom, like just chatted it up and talked through my options, which were not good. And then finally made my way to the road and got picked up and went to Pauling. So what was interesting is I got to Pauling so much earlier than everybody else, even earlier than Lightning because she still had a good chunk to hike. And so I was just kind of like chilling by myself. And then luckily this guy, Moon, that we met, who actually is another former teacher, you know, teachers, we all seem to seek each other out or find each other somehow, from Kentucky. So he rolled up, and luckily I had him to hang out with for a little bit. And he's like, oh, let's wash our clothes. And so there is no bathroom in the laundromat, so we had to go to the bathroom at the cafe nearby. So I went in and changed, put all my dirty clothes in a bag, put my phone in that bag to transport it to the laundromat because I didn't want to lose it. And I ended up, usually I take my clothes out one at a time and toss it in there, but they were so gross, I just dumped the whole bag in, and my phone was in the bag. And I realized it was in the bag right after we pressed start. We pressed start, went outside, and I go, oh no, my phone! And in those fancy commercial washing machines, there's no way to stop it once you press start. So I basically sat there for the whole 30 minutes praying that my phone was not broken. Turns out it was. I mean, I don't know why I had hope that it wouldn't be. But yes, so I washed my phone and basically lost all of my footage from the 3 days and couldn't get any footage or photos or videos of my last day on trail, and didn't get a working phone again until I got to Grand Central Station in New York City, which turns out they have an Apple store and a Verizon store, so that did work out for me. But yes, so that is the story of the slow decline of my foot, and also the last couple days on trail, which basically was just me in pain for most of the days. Just in pain and miserable, and it was just me and Stitch, and so she had to listen to me be in pain, so sorry, Stitch. But yeah, so those are my last couple days on trail. I will probably make a couple more videos. I do want to do maybe a gear video or something, just to kind of wrap this whole puppy up. And yes, that is the latest though. That is the current update on my poor foot with its little bone spur. And yes, I go to the podiatrist, like I said, in a couple weeks, and I will let you know what they say. Also, I just want to say thank you guys for all your support for all my videos and everything. I really appreciate it. Believe it or not, I read every single comment. I might not have time to sit there and go through them all, but I do. So thank you very much for everything. And thanks for watching.